Nietzsche's Ecce Homo is far and away my favorite Nietzsche book. It's right from the get-go in the title, right? You get his whole move, right? And that is, it's Ecce Homo, which is what Pontius Pilate says as he sort of beckons Jesus to present him to his supposed people, the Jews. And Nietzsche calls his own book, his own sort of autobiography, Ecce Homo, behold the man, right? Just as Pontius Pilate beckons Jesus, Nietzsche makes this move where he takes the beholding of the man, right, and rids it of its divinity, right? He says, if for Jesus, his truth was to be found in his death, in the leaving of this body, right? That his place on this world was temporary and finally needed to be transcended in order to realize himself. Nietzsche says, you know what? No, behold the man, behold the worldliness, behold this thing right here, right? And in this funny way, where Pontius Pilate is sort of ironic, right? He's sort of like, behold the man who's presumably a god. When Nietzsche says it, it's really behold the man. Right? Behold this body. Behold this becoming. Behold this, right? The ecceness, the hekeity of it. And the subtitle, which is, again, fucking perfect, is how one becomes what one is. Right? And it's about putting the being, the transcendent being, in motion into a state of becoming. Right? And that's the move Nietzsche's going to make throughout his philosophy, I think most sort of hilariously and exquisitely in Ecce Homo, where he's going to take away being and he's going to look at a life led. So as you're reading Ecce Homo, and the fantastic chapter titles, which are, Why I Am So Wise, Why I Am So Clever, Why I Write Such Good Books, he keeps coming back to these, to himself and to these seemingly sort of pedestrian, banal things. Like, he hates coffee. Coffee, says, spreads darkness. Have a little bit of tea, very strong in the morning, or have a big meal, or he didn't like the air in this town, but he likes it in this town. And you're like, well, what are you talking about, Friedrich? But what he's talking about is moving away from transcendence to a thorough worldliness. And it's precisely in this worldliness that he finds joy. Joy is the affirmation of this life. It's absolutely worldly. Right? So this is what he writes. In chapter 10 of Why I Am So Clever, he says, one will ask me why on earth I've been relating all these small things, which are generally considered matters of complete indifference. I only harm myself, the more so if I am destined to represent great tasks. Answer: these small things, nutrition, place, climate, recreation, the whole casuistry of selfishness, are inconceivably more important than everything one has taken to be important so far. Precisely here, one must begin to relearn. What mankind has so far considered seriously have not been realities, but mere imaginings. More strictly speaking, lies, prompted by the bad instincts of sick natures that were harmful in the most profound sense. All these concepts, God, soul, virtue, sin, beyond, truth, eternal life. But the greatness of human nature, its divinity was sought in them. And all these problems, he says, comes back to that, from this attempt to take leave of this life. And for him, that represents, again, the sick nature, the person who doesn't want this life. And so he creates all these other things, right? All these other things to try to take leave of it, to disappear, to efface the body and efface the worldliness. And so for Nietzsche, these questions, the questions of what do you eat, where do you live, how do you recreate, shift the entire paradigm of what you consider the good life to be the matters of life itself, of affirming, right? Of unabashedly affirming this.